Well, good morning. How are you all today? Welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I am Steve Smith. Looks like I'm kind of backlit here, so I have no idea whether you'll be able to see me or not. That it's important that you see my face, but you see me, or whether I just like a big dark blob in the middle of your screen there. We're in Gatlinburg, Gatlinburg, Tennessee, one of our favorite places. I hope you can hear me over the river. We're right on the river here. It's not like a river like a Mississippi, but it's like a mountain stream coming down out of the Smokies, and it is beautiful, but it's loud. And it's coming down over the rocks, and I tell you, it's nice to sleep by, but I don't know if it's going to be good to make a video by. Made one yesterday. First of all, welcome to everybody. Welcome to all the new people, particularly who have joined us here. We've had a lot of people join us recently, both on the YouTube channel and on the Patreon channel. I'm going to say a word about the Patreon channel in a second, because we've had some good things happening over there. If you're not with us, I'll let you know how to join us. Well, the link is right down below. Made one yesterday. Kind of made a couple of quick ones. I made several driving. I haven't put them all up yet because the main one, it was interesting that yesterday the one that I made was about, what if the big one hits when you're what if the big one hits? The Gatlinburg is a busy place, so it's maybe louder than my house. I put one up about what if the big one hits when you're away from home, and that's something that concerns, it concerns a lot of people, and it should, because it is one of the basic. Matter of fact, it's what my first book. It started the first book, The Reversion. That's what it was about. A CME that hit, and Jim Wyatt was away from home. Now, not as far away as we are, but away from home. And it's one of our those concerns that many of us share. It's probably the biggest concern. If the CME hits and we're close to home, so hopefully we're prepared for that. But when we're 600 miles, 1,200 miles away, that's different. Well, interestingly enough, then when I get back checking the news last night, we got back from dinner, had a great dinner. There's a place down in Gatlinburg, and I guess it's other places, called the Mellow Mushroom. And it's not quite the hippie place that it sounds like, but man, they had great pizza. Second only to my favorite pizza in Clinton, Missouri, Pizza Clan. But anyway, I got back home and saw the news that a Cannibal CME was headed our way and due to hit today. On the 18th. So if you're watching this later and you're okay, you don't have to worry about it. But what was interesting to me was that it had hit. Well, it was coming our way, and that I had just made that video. So that made me, of course, think, and I had a talk with the kids about it. And what do we do if the big one hits while we're away from home? And kind of go down the. Just a reminder. Always good to have those, base touching meetings about things like this. Don't worry about it. We're prepared. Don't be scared. That's the difference. Of course, people who aren't prepared, they're not scared either, because they don't know what they don't know what the possibilities are. So, some go through life in blissful ignorance, and then when it hits, it's bad news for them. The others of us, we go through in healthy concern and preparedness. And when it happens, I won't say it's not an inconvenience. It would be. I would prefer not to walk back home 600 miles. But if I have to, we will. Well, I got up this morning, and so I got a message from Rob Painless over at Painless Outdoors. And he said, "Hey, it would be a good segue for you to talk about after Mark Harrison's invitation that I talked about yesterday, to go into." He says kind of what we do, and he said whenever they travel, they have a lot of friends all over the place, and they They carry paper maps with them, and they know exactly how to get to their closest friend's place. If everything does happen. It's just, excuse me. Pardon me. I hope that didn't blow out your ears, just being up so close to my throat. So that they have paper maps to go with, to get to the nearest friend that they have, and what a good idea that is. Now we don't, most people, and many people do. Many people have friends all over. We have contacts all over. We don't necessarily have friends, but a contact is better than nothing, right? And I won't say we're not in an area of the country, even though my family came from, the South 100 and some years ago. We don't have a lot of friends and family down here. However, what I do always carry, and it was a great, and we'll talk a little bit more about the CME that's coming. What we always do carry is maps. Okay, if everything did go down, your GPS, your Google, you're not going to have it. I always have. I have always had an atlas in my car since I was 16. It was stressed. Always have a map, a paper map, a hard copy. Because now this is from 2014, but they haven't moved most of the roads. And it's good to have. Now, if as I read further into this article, it seems that now Cannibal CME is when, and I'll say something else. Well, first I'll say it, and then I'll say something else. A Cannibal CME is when one lets off of the sun, and then another one, a larger one, I think, shoots out soon thereafter and envelops or engulfs that first one because it's moving at a faster speed, and it has swallowed that second one, and now it's headed, and apparently that's what's headed for us. Now, the article says that it's not particularly worrisome. This isn't one. It's probably not the big one. We will hope. I don't know if I would really mind the big one as long as I'm at home, right? A lot of us say that. A lot of us say, hey, it's time to start over, and this might be a good way to do it. But it doesn't look like this one's going to be. Now, Mike Hoskins, one of our patrons over on the Patreon channel, and this is why I suggest if you're not with us on Patreon yet, do come over to Patreon. There is so much more over there than you find on the YouTube channel. And Mike has put up, he's called a curated, which means he has categorized a whole bunch of different articles and resources about CME. The different, what causes them, what exactly they are, what the effects would be on us here. And there's a lot of misinformation out there about CME. Back when I wrote my first book, it came out in 2017. All my books, by the way, are available through Amazon or through my website, stonemont.us, and the links are down below in the information section and pinned comment. But when I wrote the first one, there was still a lot of, it wasn't as well understood as it is now. And I think a lot of good information has come out since then. One of the reason that I wrote this is because the CME allowed me to put in all of the preparedness and survival lessons that I wanted to because of its catastrophic effect on society and on the world. You talk about 90% of the people dying off in the first 12 months. Yeah, I'd say that ranks up there as catastrophic, right? But Mike has put over there, and I haven't read through all the material, and I say right off, I am not the scientific guy. I am the guy that knows preparedness and survival. I don't know the science. So I always prepare for the absolute worst, right? That's the way you should do. Prepare for the worst, hope for the best. Well, I do. So it's always good when I read things and say, well, this might not be as bad as you thought. That's good news, but a caution against grabbing onto that, well, this isn't as bad as we thought, and letting that allay or assuage your fears to the point to where it slows you down in your preparations. You shouldn't let that happen. You should expect that everything, if you can do it without going crazy, everything is the big one, because that's going to keep you at your peak of preparedness, and it keeps your mind in the game too. So Mike has put that over in the comment section of yesterday's video. What if the collapse happens when you're away from home? I highly suggest you go. And he put a link in his comment, and then you go to the link, and it takes you to all of the different articles that you can get the information from. Now, the concerns, of course, and I'll just kind of piggyback this on yesterday's, is when you're away from home. Everything gets harder, right? It's like everything is harder in the rain and everything is harder in the cold. Well, everything's harder when you're away from home, and I don't let it affect the good times that I have on our trips, but it's just something that you have in the back of your mind. Now, one of the main concerns, and one of the reasons that you want, going back to Rob's point, having hard copy maps to get back, is you want to know, we're not Daniel Boone. We're not just out there wandering around trying to follow the sun and find our way west. You need a plan, right? And it isn't virgin forest anymore. It's people's properties and farmers' fields and things like that. And then those things that can really be a problem, which are rivers. That's one of the reasons that I always, and you've heard me say before, that whenever I'm 100 miles or more from home or across a river, I take a rifle, at least one rifle. And the reason for that, well, first, if you're far away from home, it increases your chances that you might have to use a rifle, either for if in the case of a total collapse, either for defense or for to get food. And I somebody asked me, who was it? They asked me what rifle I carry, if I don't mind. No, I don't mind at all saying it's. I'm a real basic guy. Me. If you know me by now, I'm a basic guy. I don't have a bunch of Daniel defense. I don't care about spending that much money. I am not a high-speed operator out here. I'm a family man, and I like I get. When I can get four effective, dependable rifles for the price of an expensive rifle, I will, and so that's what I do. And I always carry, I have two different types of ARs, and I think most of them are Smith & Wesson M&P, and a few of them are the Ruger AR. What do they call it? I forget exactly, but it's the Ruger. It's almost identical to the Smith & Wesson. Well, most ARs are pretty much the same, But no, it's not high speed. It's a rifle that is dependable. It shoots. It hits what I'm shooting at, and that's all I need. And I do bring a good number of loaded magazines with me. As far as the pistols are concerned, I talked about that yesterday. I bring mainly 40 cal, so that we can all use the same ammo, while also bringing a 9mm just in case we run across any 9mm ammo, and I need something through which to process it. But the reason that I always bring a rifle is because your biggest dangers getting home are rivers. And now out west you don't have that same problem, but boy, you get into Missouri and east of there, or Arkansas, you have big rivers. I mean, we came across 3 big rivers to get down here: the Missouri, the Mississippi, and the Ohio. You're not going to swim those rivers, and I mean, if everything went down, I would find a boat or a log or a raft or who knows what, and I'd get across it. But you know, who wants to do that when you could just walk across a bridge? The problem is getting across a bridge. Bridges are choke points. If everything goes down, those bridges could be under the control of people who don't want you necessarily to go across their bridge without paying some kind of toll, if you know what I mean. And so that's always my main concern when I'm far away from home, are bridges. Other than that, you know, it's like when my dad told me when I was considering going into the service in the early, you know, back in Vietnam, and he said he was Army. My grandfather was Army, and he said, "No," he said, "don't join the Navy. You can't swim 100 miles home, but you can walk." And which he had gotten caught and had to walk a good distance back to his unit. He says, "You can walk 100 miles, but you can't swim 100 miles." So, you know, but that's the truth. You can walk 100 miles. You can walk 600 miles. You can walk 1,000 miles. It'll take you a while, you know, but you can do it. And all you need to be concerned about is, you know, staying alive along the way. So I think that's all I wanted to say, is that apparently we have a Cannibal CME headed towards us. From the information that I've gotten, it's not of particular concern. Which is good, because I don't want my vacation screwed up by, you know, the world ender. I don't care, you know, much if I'm not afraid of the world ender coming. I'd just rather not start it off with a long walk, you know. So anyway, I'm about to get the rest of the family up. We're started on a good day today. Kids want to go out to Dollywood. We're going to do that and have a few days here in Gatlinburg. Then we're moving on to Chattanooga for a couple of days. And it's just beautiful around here. Just beautiful. So you all have a good day. Remember, and welcome to all the new people. Join us over on the Patreon channel. It's only $1 a month. And when you're a patron over there, you get access to so much more than you do just on YouTube. And it's good stuff, not just from me, but from so many of our excellent contributors over there. And remember, if this is a good time, if you haven't read my books, and get started on them. The Stonemont series are my books. This is just the first one. This is a copy that I brought along because Brody's reading it. That's why there's a marker in it. That's what it's about. A CME takes out the world. It's the Stonemont series, the reversion, the revival, the renewal, and appeal to heaven, the blessings of freedom. And yes, I'm working on number 7. Haven't decided what to title it yet, and it's expected to be ready in the fall. So if you haven't started on them, get started on them. And we've got people out there that have finished reading the whole series 5 times. So if you've only read through it twice, get started on the third one. You'll find things you didn't see the first 2 times, or the first 3 times, or the first 4 times, because people tell me that. Okay, so do that. Join us on Patreon, because we'd love to have you, and have a great day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I'm going to go out there. We're prepared. So we're not just going to live well tomorrow. We're going to live well today and tomorrow. So you all have a good day. I'm going to, and I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.